to Week in Horror.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The only podcast that will feed your horror need.
The need to feed.
With JL.
Yeah, I'm a fucking masochist. I'll watch that shit.
Eugene.
Somebody has to be the sex symbol. I'm sorry.
Alex.
Shit, I just demonetized this forever.
And Johnny O.
How do you like that shit? Got halfway through the monologue before unmuting myself. Golly, it's one of them fucking days.
With industry guests.
Hi, this is Richard Oakes, Director of Host.
Hey, this is Adam Leader, Director of Host.
This is Matthew Mark Hunter.
I'm Don Anelli.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And this is Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
News, trivia, and more.
One by one, we will take you.
Join our live show Wednesdays at 7 Central, youtube.com/weekinhorror, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Week in Horror. Stay scared.
Welcome back, horror fans. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and that means it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast for the recently deceased. Thank you for joining our live show, and for all of our podcast listeners, be sure to check us out so you too can interact directly with the show. This week, we're covering select films released in horror history August 1st through August 7th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Johnny O.
I'm Alex.
And with me tonight is... and with me tonight are...
Oh my god.
For fuck's sake. You guys are killing me.
Are you having a stroke?
JL's about to have an aneurysm.
Yes.
Anyway, with me tonight are... Jesus fucking Christ. With me tonight are... Alex, is your line.
No, technically it's your line because you're supposed to introduce us.
Oh, for fuck's sake. With me are Alex and JL. Jesus, Mother and Mary. It's been a week. People. It's been a week.
Hey, Johnny. You okay?
No, I'm not. Permanently scarred.
Hello, horror fans. Good to see you. Fucking hell. Well, this has been an interesting start to this. No. So Well, then we'll want to thank Johnny for gracing us with his presence. And
look, again, it's not like this is the only thing I see now that like Alex people.
I see now that Alex has relinquished his crown. There's a new heir to the throne.
Oh, piss off.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Week in Horror. We appreciate y'all being here. We did start a little bit late. I do apologize. We had some issues making sure that everything was going to run smoothly until 5 seconds into the stream.
Right.
And but let's take a look and see who we have in the chat before we get going tonight. So I see Chris Durham Music Channel was first in line. That man said that was confusing.
I've got his answer. Hang on. I have his answer for the trivia. Wait. He told me to make sure and announce it. His answer is Lauren Green.
Yep. That's what he said. Yeah, and apparently when I said we were bumping the show, I announced it in Discord, and apparently I fucked up the date. I said it was in August. It was August 29th. It's actually July 29th, which is today. So that's my bad. Thank you for letting me know. But yes, he is guest Lauren Green for tonight's trivia. We will see if Chris Durham is correct.
He's always right.
That's the fucked up thing. He's always right. I had to change at the last minute.
Yep.
So let's see. Tina Jones is in the house. Tina Jones, one of our biggest supporters, and recently had a birthday. So belated happy birthday,
yeah.
Tina Jones. Pleasure. Thank you for coming out. Jen Ju is in the house. Says hello, everyone. Glad to see I'm not the only one that's late. There you go. That's pretty much
Nobody's late. late.
You guys are all just on time.
Sir Little Wolf is in the house. Hey, Sir Little Wolf, and says they're late. And so he also says never pay full price for a late podcast. Good Turtles reference. Very nice. Very nice. Yep. All right. And let's see who else we got in here. I know we got a few others who said hello. There was a lot of me going around. There was a lot of new nicknames for Johnny. I think we've got what were these good ones? Oh yeah, I said I wondered if Fiverr had podcast hosts. People want to know what Fiverr was, and let's see. I know that they were coming up with Johnny Come Lately was a new one. Johnny Late was another one. Johnny Too Slow.
Yep.
These are all fantastic.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Come on.
Charlie Welch, hey, good to see you, Chief, and one of our amazing patrons. There wasn't tech issues, and yes, Tina was correct. Host issues. Yes, life interfering with plans. Sarcasm. Good to see you. Another one of our amazing patrons.
Yes.
Excellent. And
life
there it is.
People.
Johnny Slow. Johnny Come Later.
As long as Johnny come.
Waiting on Johnny. Johnny. And Tina had faith that you would be Johnny B here instead of. And Tina Jones.
Johnny on time when you could be Johnny B here.
That's right.
Tina says today's hosts are jail eating because I was eating my dinner. At least you guys were late, so I could eat my dinner. Jail eating, Casual Alex, and is it Casual Alex and Johnny Slow.
Yep.
And the Jordan is in the house. And the Jordan said, "Hello, good to see you." Tony Regime in the house as well. And yes, and the Jordan, you were on time 2 weeks in a row. We were.
Jordan, I have a response for you. Remind me after the show.
Oh, there you go.
And the Jordan was here yesterday at 7:00. Good for you, man.
And Charlie Wolf says, "Love me some weekend horrors." Oh, wait.
Yeah, no, you're right. You said it right.
Hey, we got to make money somehow.
Amazing. We do.
Look, exactly. That's why I was late. Okay.
So yes, while we jump on this, Tina Jones, go ahead and get your pizza. I know Logical Hillbilly's in the house. Good to see you. Excellent. God, there's some amazing people in the chat tonight. And if I miss anybody, I apologize. This thing kind of jumps around, but I think I got everybody who's in the chat so far. Let's see here. And Tony Regime has a guess for the trivia. Deborah Hill is Tony Regime's guest. So
surprisingly close, actually.
So there we go. So Deborah Hill and Lauren Green are on the board for the chat. I have a big whiteboard here, like in Cabin in the Woods, where I write everything. It's like, and these are all the possible answers. So it's good stuff. This is good stuff. All right, then. So there's actually a bunch of things that we want to talk about before we dive into tonight's movies.
You changed this. There were only two there.
I did. I added things to it because things just kept popping up, and I wanted to talk about them. So
there's been a lot of new stuff popping out
and
recently.
I would exactly, and I cannot wait to hear what the live chat has to say about this, what their opinions are on these things. So there's a couple of so first and foremost, the trailer dropped for the new Chucky series that's being produced by Sci-Fi USA. I've seen the trailer. I showed it to Johnny and Alex. So you guys both saw it. Thoughts on this?
I like that they're sticking to the continuity and they're bringing Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly back. It looks a million times better than that garbage rebuild crap that came out.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
That's actually, I think, one of the first times you've had a positive thing to say about a new TV show.
That's not true.
Well, one thing I really, really liked was that they've gone back.
True.
They've gone back to the original design for the doll.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not the new things that we were getting when it became kind of a satire, and then Cult of Chucky, and then was it Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky. The physical design of the doll shifted, just changed over time. Just small tweaks here and there until eventually it was different. But this harkens back to the original design in the original box of the first film back in 1988. And I think
it was a good guy doll, right?
It was a good guy doll. It looks fantastic. I mean, the doll itself looks fantastic.
Okay, it looks Annabelle. People who make Annabelle, take note, right? This is how you make a creepy doll that somebody would actually buy.
Yes.
That bullshit you put out, not creepy. It's creepy as fuck. Nobody would ever buy that piece of shit. The good guy doll, people could accidentally buy that. You guys remember My Buddy, right?
Yeah,
it was basically what
that was.
Right. Yeah, that shit sold like crazy. Then there was Kid Sister.
Dude, it was all so creepy. It's still
yes.
Cabbage Patch Kids, man.
Fucking talking dolls. Seriously, I used to scare the shit out of a coworker of mine with Cabbage Patch dolls. We worked at Toys R Us together, and she was deathly afraid of these things. So I would hide them under her register when she was on lunch. This one time I hid one in the trunk of her car, and she always said, like, put a whole bunch of shit in the trunk of her car. Fucking great.
Fucking me. that's because they're black eyes, like doll's eyes. Pretty much. But I have good hope for it. The trailer looked good. It looked I think they're going to treat it well. I'm curious where the story's going to go, because this is going to be episodic instead of one film. So I guess
it's going to be like a what do they call it? Oh geez, help me out. It's like different stories. Like, he's not going to spend all this time at one place. Like,
so it's going to move from okay.
From what I understand, it may be like 2 episodes will be at one place, and then he gets shifted to a different place. As I understand, I could be wrong, but I think that's what I read. What is that called? Jesus Christ, I can't remember. Whatever, doesn't matter. It looks really, really good.
Transitional storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yep, fingers crossed for that one. We have high hopes.
Fucking Charlie Welch is singing the My Buddy song in the damn live chat.
My Buddy and Me. So, another big thing, and I want to get your guys' quick thoughts, and of course, let us know in the live chat any of y'all's thoughts on the new trailer, or if you've seen it yet, and of course any of the other stuff that we talk about. We'd love to hear what you guys think, and of course, let us know. You can let us know in the comments. Hit us up weekinhorror@gmail.com. The next big thing was, there are rumors around, it's nothing confirmed, but there are rumors going around about a Stephen King cinematic universe. So, and
aren't they all really already in a cinematic universe just by proxy?
Well, they're in the novel universe, they're in the book universe, Stephen King's universe that he's created. Yeah, so they are linked via the books, but obviously up until now, no one's ever put forth an effort until Disney, Marvel, or it's obviously Marvel, Disney, but until they alter the landscape of films forever with the Marvel cinematic universe, with DC tagging along like a whipped puppy.
I feel so bad for DC.
I know, feel like that was
I'm just not a giant DC fan. I'm not, but because they do animation, they should have stuck with animation. I love their animation, but that's pretty much changed the landscape of films of a big
Tim
film
Burton
forever.
doing Batman. Sorry.
and so now people want continuity like that. They want the cinematic universe seems to be like some of the magic words in Hollywood these days. And now we get little hints of it, just like in Gerald's Game, which released on Netflix. There was a tiny hint that linked that movie to The Dark Tower, and it was stuff like that.
Mr. Gray, right?
No, it was the reference to when after the husband was dead and she's hallucinating and she starts talking to his ghost. She's like speaking to his ghost. He says to her, "All things serve the beam," which is and he kind of whispers it to her. So it's subtle. And if you're not really paying attention, if you happen to have your eyes away from you may miss it. But there was a link there, so that's a very subtle link to the Dark Tower series. Which, of course, like in the MCU, with the MCU when it started, there was Iron Man, and then it was just like the little end credit scene, and then there was the Incredible Hulk, and then a little end credit scene, and then they were slowly building it till eventually got to the Avengers, and so it has that kind of feel like they're just dropping little subtle links that link these things to other films. And eventually they'll start doing stories like potentially what Blumhouse is doing with Firestarter and Christine to link these into the grander scope. Because now you have a major powerhouse company who's raking it in with the films they're putting forward. They're going to be the creative force behind the new Exorcist films that are coming out. They're handling Halloween extremely well, and now of course they've got Christine and Firestarter ready to go.
That's debatable how well they're handling Halloween.
Well, I think they're handling it well. So
stupidest fucking way to get him out of that basement.
So here's where they're. So given this, what do you guys think? It is primed because of the novels, but will this serve for film? Because comics is one thing. Comic books, you can do a cinematic universe like this if you want to do it. But does this service Stephen King's storytelling?
Here's where they're going to run into issue. If they try and retcon in like It and the Dark Tower already. I mean, the Dark Tower is a little easier to retcon in because they only focus on the Gunslinger, Dark Tower. There are a couple of the books that they can put in and kind of shoehorn some other stuff into, but you can't do It. You can't do the 11. Well, I guess you can redo 1170. What is it? 11/22/75.
Oh, the Kennedy assassination one. Yeah.
You could redo that one. And then there's that was it the 1922 with Thomas Jane.
Yep.
There are a couple of ones that if they go for some of the obscure stuff that not a whole lot of people are familiar with, I think they can make it work. Kind of like how that you take some of the B stories and make those better, like the cooler stuff.
And from what I understand, they did the same thing with they're doing the same thing with Lacey's story, because Lacey's story, if you really dive into it, has links to books, links to I think it has links to Rose Matter, and because through the glass that they travel is the same world that they're going to, which I believe connects to the Dark Tower as well. And then there's God dang, there was another one.
Well, the beauty part about it though is that all they got to do is kind of just make mention of it. Like what is that series that was on the Stephen King series? I think it was on Showtime, maybe it was on Hulu.
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock, that's it. Yeah. So they just mentioned little things in there talking about Derry and Shawshank and stuff like that. That's kind of how they're pulling it in. So I guess they can make it work.
So we could, okay. So instead of doing like a big, huge show, like everything is linked, maybe just drop subtle hints to other things.
Yeah, and they could probably link a couple of things. Like if they were to redo the Kennedy assassination one, talking about there's a part in the book where he overhears the kids talking about what happened in Derry and whatnot, and that would be kind of cool. More focus on stuff like that.
Didn't they?
But as far as like all the monsters, do what?
Didn't
they did a miniseries. They did a
miniseries
with James Franco.
I think it was a miniseries starring James Franco.
Yeah, it was on Showtime, I think. No, it was on Hulu.
Never saw
it was pretty. It was pretty good. It wasn't great, but
I like the idea of them doing subtle drops and not trying to overtly link all these things together. So the Stephen King cinematic universe. I don't think the SKCU doesn't need to be a giant thing. I think
we don't need to have Thanos coming in.
Exactly. There doesn't have to be like all of these things that lead up to this confrontation with the Crimson King and shit. We don't need that. We just little subtle drops that these things are linked, so we can go, we can be like, in Screen Rant, hey, that was in that other movie that time, and so we can do that. So we can have those moments.
And you don't think this cocaine alcohol fueled demigod hasn't already started planting that seed in your head?
And say Nerd Journal's in the house. Good to see you, Nerd Journal. Says, I would love to see the King universe realized, but I am constantly proving that most big name companies just don't understand King stories at their core. I am inclined to agree with that.
That's because Stephen King was on peyote most of the time. And not even Stephen King understands his own stories, okay? Like when they asked him why he ended it.
If you've read his book,
good.
He's admitted that before.
Yeah.
He's just like, he's like, it has nothing to do with my life. When I write, it's just something that just pops into my head. It's not really connected to anything that has happened in my life. And so just being able to do that, his brain is just constantly that fucked up all the time.
That was the big reveal, is like, does he live in this? Is this the world that is in his head and it occupies thoughts? It's like, no, dude, I have a thought, it pops in my head and I fucking write it.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much, it's like, it kind of took the mystery out of it. It's like, no, it's like scary dog, right? Scary dog. It's pretty much, that's what it is.
He should have let that scary dog trap people in cars.
Right. He should have played with that idea a little bit. Like, this is what really goes on in my head. Ooh. Stephen King looks at his wife like.
A Nerd Journal says, look what they did to The Stand. So now
I still haven't seen the remake. Is it good?
I haven't seen the remake myself. I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and watch it with the whole nail gun, with the tidal wave, the kind of tsunami that came with that. I haven't had a chance to down, but I intend to. I fully intend to. Once we get past the end of month stuff, Week in Horror end of month stuff with the Daily Splatter and getting all the patrons taken care of, getting all the things sent out to everybody, that's always a pain. And not to mention, moving here to Bartlesville caused complications with some things, so things are slightly delayed.
Bartlesville sounds like a made-up Stephen King town.
It's a tiny fucking town. But people already know where I live.
They can't find Bartlesville if they tried.
They don't know my.
There's only 3 people in the town. 2 of them are jail.
So, but moving to this tiny town in Oklahoma, it's kind of like, and I'll be traveling back to Dallas when I get the opportunity. But moving here when you move out of state, when you go interstate, things really get twisted, and so we're dealing with that. So things got delayed, but things are finally settling into place, and hopefully we'll get that set. So that was that. So that's the Stephen King cinematic universe. The next thing was, did everybody see the poster for Jordan Peele's new horror film?
I didn't see that one.
Nope.
You didn't see it. Oh, ha, Alex. Well, you didn't. Oh, you made a joke. You didn't even know you made a joke.
I made that on purpose.
Totally
you just took forever to fucking get it.
No, I got it immediately.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, Jayad.
Why are you yelling at me?
Why are you screaming? Why are you yelling?
Are you trying to pull it up right now? You're doing that awkward thing.
Yeah.
Where you get real quiet.
Yeah, it gets real quiet, and it's like, oh shit.
No, I'm looking at it because I don't know how many people have seen this thing or not seen this thing.
I mean, you mentioned it. I didn't see any like weird posters for it.
Okay, so give me just 2 seconds.
Do your 2 seconds. We'll talk more about Stephen King while you're doing that.
What more about him?
Nothing really. We like said everything there is to say about Stephen
Okay,
King.
there we go.
All
Okay,
right.
so yeah, no, I just wanted to do this so I could possibly do.
Share screen. Share screen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Yeah. No, you're good.
I just didn't have it set up because I thought you guys had actually seen it. So there we go.
This is the first I saw that was on the script. I'm sorry.
All right, and this is cool. This is cool because that means that the people in the live chat will be able to see it as well. So share screen and window, and this is the poster for the new Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Okay, so what are we discussing?
Okay, so what do you think?
That's supposed to be. It looks like a giant semen, like a cloud semen.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Look, there's a tail. It's all poofy up front. No, it's supposed to be UFO, right? So that's his thing.
I don't know.
Really? Looks like that's what he's going for. I mean, hey, is that a UFO? Government? Nope.
I'm curious about it, and I just wanted you guys to get your guys' thoughts on it. But now you're seeing it, so this cloud of stuff. The big thing is I have no idea. Like, are those lights on the thing going into it? And
you're trying to discuss it because like we have no idea what the actual movie's about.
Yeah, because there's no fucking information about this goddamn thing.
Like Johnny said. I mean, if you look at it, like there's a blown up picture of it. That's not lights. It's like flags coming off the back of that cloud.
They're flags.
Ooh.
They're like flags or pieces of fabric or something. They're all different colors, and it's on like a string. There's a blown up picture of it.
Nerd Journal says it looks like the little things that they hang around used car dealerships. Those strings that have little flags attached to them. Just the different colored flags. Good cat. Yeah. Okay, Nerd Journal. Thank you very much, Nerd Journal. That's excellent. And people say, is it a cloud? Is it a UFO? And okay, now that we've identified those things as like the flag, as like the strings of flags, now it makes even less fucking sense.
Yeah, I have no idea. But then I have no idea. But who fucking knows from the brain of Jordan Peele?
Yeah, this was it. Jinju says looks like it's a bunch of Christmas lights being sucked into the cloud like spaghetti. I have no fucking clue.
Maybe it's about the spaghetti monster.
I don't know. I'm confused, but I guess since we're all pretty much in the same boat, we're in the boat of confusion. We will. I guess when more information comes out, we'll digress on it then. And I think the last thing, and the reason I brought this up, this was a last minute addition, was the new trailer, the trailer for the movie Lamb, which just dropped and apparently has like all of YouTube in an uproar.
What happened now?
Nothing extreme. Nothing. I watched the trailer. Nothing extreme is in the trailer, like hardcore, but it is a horror film. And the question, but what the movie is about apparently is Noomi Rapace and her husband. She and her husband are, I guess, working. They're in Norway. It's in Norway, so I think it's subtitled. I think the movie's going to be subtitled. And they run a sheep farm. And one day they have a sheep that's giving birth, and it gives birth to a human child with a lamb head.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Right. And
so
I don't know. So, but you watch the trailer and it's kind of endearing. It's just like it has these moments and it's playing like, God only knows what I'd be without you, and over the deal, it's all kind of uplifting until it starts descending into absolute chaos and insanity. When I'm guessing the local townsfolk around discover that they have a half lamb, half human hybrid growing up on this farm, and apparently there's something going on with the sheep themselves, who apparently have taken because there's all these scenes of them agentially staring at the couple like they have attention. I have no fucking clue. So, but apparently everybody, because there's one brief moment when you're watching the trailer when they're walking, like the dad, like the husband is walking through the field and is walking with his son, like he's holding his hand, and the kid's got a fucking lamb head.
But doesn't that mean that the dad fucked the sheep?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like the dad did this, impregnated the lamb, or if this is like some sort of supernatural event with there's no telling. But they decide to keep the child and raise it, or keep the thing and raise it as their own.
Wow, keep the thing. That's mean.
It's 2020, man. You can't talk like that.
Gosh.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I
have the mentality of like Sentinels and X-Men. Mutant detected.
10 to 1 says all those Bible thumpers would immediately want to execute that child. It's the devil.
Probably. So I have no idea. So
abort. Oh shit.
So I'm very, very curious. Apparently, people are freaking out, and just maybe I will have no doubt that the article probably trumped it up a little bit. Probably exacerbated, but it said people are reacting very strongly to this trailer, and I don't know why, but it looks interesting, and I'm curious about it. Tony Regime says J.L. Warren sounds like the Revenge of Billy the Kid. Laughing my ass off.
Oh, that's a good one. Jin G says I finally get a sibling.
Yeah. Hilarious. All right. So, but that was pretty much it. If you have any comments or any thoughts about any of the stuff that is coming up in the horror, the horror industry, let us know in the comments below, or hit us up weekinhorror@gmail.com. Let us know in the live chat. We'll see if we can get around to seeing what you say. And other than that, we got
it's movie time. We're here to talk about some fucking movies. Alex, what do we have up first? Boom.
All right. Boom. Rolling it.
We're doing it.
Cool. Let's start with August 1st, 1975, with The Intruder. This film was written and directed by Chris Robinson, starring Mickey Rooney, of course, Ted Cassidy, Yvonne DiCarlo, Phyllis Robinson, and Chris Robinson. This one was fun. It was 11 people go to find gold, and they find dead.
They find
dead. No, but so 11 people are looking for gold, and they get stalked and picked off one by one. And probably, I was going to say, maybe one of the oldest slasher films that I've seen.
This is interesting because 1975 was when the film was made, and that's the one thing that set this movie apart, because it was very curious, because after watching the movie, I have my opinions on it, but the big thing about this movie is The Intruder was shot and yes, Jinju, you're correct, Yvonne DiCarlo. And so this film was shot in 1975, I believe 74 to 75, and then it never received release. It was shelved by its distribution company. That's it, and it was just put up.
And so lost film.
Yes, and was thought to be a lost film. And the negatives were destroyed. So the movie was made, the negatives were destroyed, and it was shelved indefinitely. So people thought it was gone. And then all of a sudden in 2017, a print of the film was discovered, and we've got its actual first release on August 1st, 2017. I want to make sure of that, but the date that we
2017. But listen, the cool thing about this is it was shot in 1975, but its first release was on Blu-ray. So it means these people shot this film in 1975, long before even DVDs, and its first release was on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So it's super cool. They had no idea.
All the bullshit. Skip all the bullshit.
just jump right to the shit.
Right into high def with the lowest def.
The lowest def possible. But I was impressed, and I was and it got me to thinking about all the lost films are out there, harkening all the way back to the Universal Fire in the 1920s. And all that was it the 1920s? The Universal fire took place 1922.
22, I think. 22 or 23.
22, 23. But yeah, the big Universal lot fire that we lost so many movies in. But then again, I started looking into it, and there was a long, long history of movies that were thought to be gone. All of a sudden, they pop back up somewhere. Someone has them in their personal collection. There are some actors out there who have, or some legendary actors who had cut prints of films that never saw daylight, like in their personal vaults. And then when they die, they go into their estate and say, oh, this movie. And then they, boom, there you go. You get a release of this. Richard Branson had a couple that were like that he had copies of his movies that never saw the light of day. So it's wild. And I'm so glad that we got this one. And there's an interesting thing. I just found it to be interesting about The Intruder. Now, the real question is, this movie was made in 1975, right?
Yes.
And didn't see a release until 2017.
Right.
But the big thing about this thing is this 1975, the only, I mean, Psycho, arguably the first slasher film, but the only big thing that came out before this one was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was what really hit the genre and started like, proliferated the slasher genre was 1974. So less than a year before this film came out, Texas Chainsaw Massacre hit theaters, and everybody was like, whoa, the slasher genre exploded. Then the next big thing, then we had a couple of like real quiet ones in between there. That really did, but it was Friday the 13th in 1980, 6 years later, that boom, like Johnny Shirt. And it was Friday the 13th, 6 years later, that it really exploded. Oh, sorry, my bad. I skipped one. It was Halloween in 1978, where it kind of took off, and then Friday the 13th, and then so on and so forth. So 1974 to 1978, Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Halloween. This one came out.
Halloween was kind of a subtle slasher, though. It wasn't as big a slasher. You could almost make there's more of a thriller horror than a slasher, but it still had it had the key elements of what make us like, the silent killer with the slashing up his victims and whatnot.
Right, exactly.
It was very subtle. It seems like there was a good progression there, because a lot of people talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre being so bloody and gory. When you go back and watch it, it's not that bloody or gory at all.
It shockingly isn't. Yeah,
it's really not.
Not compared to shit nowadays. I mean, not compared to like Saw. Like,
but that's actually a really good comparison to make, because if you look at the original Saw film versus how it got, the original Saw film wasn't that bloody. There were a few parts in here, and it was done very well. It was done, like subliminally, and it was all like just kind of off camera or out of focus or a little bit. It made your brain put in, fill in the blanks, which is what Texas Chainsaw Massacre did, which is what Halloween did, right? So it was, kind of built and built and built. And now we've got slashers where, if it doesn't have 38 gallons of blood in the first 10 minutes, you don't have a slasher.
Right.
But that's ultimately how this one was as well, too, because it was not. I mean, it was definitely, there hadn't been like a stalking movie. I mean, you got obviously like Jason and Michael, and they kind of, but it's confined. And this was just like kind of the first stalker slasher before those. Obviously, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was intense, but the fact that this fit right in with those movies, and we never saw it until way after
now,
the genre had already evolved. This definitely could have been sitting there and been one of the greats, because it was in between two really good movies, and it wasn't that bad for 1975.
That was a surprising thing. This film was actually quite good.
Yeah,
and by comparison to some of the stuff that we've watched, especially in the slasher genre, that early on, this thing could have been terrible. It could have been The Fucking Forest.
Right.
But it wasn't. I mean, this was solid. The acting was decent. The effects were decent. Had a decent storyline. People go to island to look for to riches, and then all of a sudden there's a killer on the loose. This is perfect. It's literally textbook slasher stuff. Textbook slasher, pre-Halloween, pre-Friday, pre the burning, pre-anything, pre-anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's all the cliches that weren't really a cliche when it was made. They were part of the pioneering group of the slasher film genre.
So that's my curiosity, and I was kind of wondering, given what we've seen, what effect could this have had on the genre?
I don't know. See, because I think the genre was healthy with or without this movie, right? I don't, like Alex said, this could have been one of the greats. I don't think so. I remember watching bits and pieces of this film thinking, hey, this is pretty cool. But I don't think this would have been one that would have been like, holy shit, you know what I mean? I don't think we would have been talking about this one like we talk about, Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
But true. But do you think Halloween or Friday would have hit like they hit had this movie actually seen a theatrical release?
I think so. I don't think this would have really
Absolutely.
negatively. I don't think it would have negatively affected anything. It may have positively affected. It could have been made those other films even better.
We've seen bigger hits or bigger returns
Right.
on Halloween because people would have been more primed for them.
Right.
Okay.
Because again, this is a
that's
solid. It's a solid
going.
film. Yeah, it's a solid film. It's just not something that's like, oh my god, oh, like the story that you get with Friday the 13th, and it was Jason's mother the whole time, and the reveal and the first person kind of point of view from the killer and all that. So like the stuff that was done in these other films would have worked without. You didn't need this film. This film, the only thing you could have done was maybe help boost people's appetite for slashers.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious about that because you always wonder what gets one film jumps in and given it can take one small thing to change the landscape entirely. And so when this one particular film came out, on the heels of Texas Chainsaw, before Halloween was even a concept, and then this is years before Friday or The Burning or A Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I think this was before Craven did
The Hills
Last
Have Eyes.
Last House
Or
on the
Last
Left.
House on the Left, yeah.
So given that, it's kind of like.
Yeah, but here, let me ask you this, JL. Could you have made this film into a franchise? I think that's what the other films had that this one probably would have lacked in. Is could you have continued that story, with something like, Jason, take example, that's a whole story that you could play out over, 6-7 films or whatever it was. Or how many? 12 films. But could you have continued this story? I think it would be extremely difficult to take that character or that story and continue it into a second movie or even third, fourth, fifth movie.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, our characters going to a single location, which is nobody goes there and they're going there specifically to search for gold. So that they're going there. There happens to be a killer there. And I don't want to give too much away. People want to, because this movie just recently released. So,
it's
as old as it is. But given that, it doesn't. I would agree. It does not have the marketability or basically the box office to be able to continue on with like The Intruder 2 or Return of the Intruder or something of that nature.
You got to think about
Intruder upon again.
Intruder upon again. You got to think about it this way, though. None of those films, none of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, Halloween, none of those films were built to be franchise films. They were built as we're just going to make this movie. And
Halloween was because he escaped to the end.
Yeah, but again, that's just cliffhanger endings, right? So there's nothing wrong with cliffhanger endings. That gives them the opportunity to, for sure. But there's a lot of stuff like Pet Sematary cliffhanger ending. We don't need another one after that. You know what I mean?
But they do that so that if it does work out, they can continue the story. And so
maybe
they don't know that it,
Right, but again, if you would have said, "Hey, John Carpenter, do you think there's going to be some weird cult thing that has that's related to John Carpenter's?" Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you smoking, guys? I mean,
this movie sucks. What are you talking about?
Do you envision kind of a Satanist angle to this thing with shadowy people instilling Michael with powers from before his birth? He's kind of like the.
Yeah,
he's a fucking crazy. He's a crazy guy who stabs girls. What the fuck do you want from me?
What more do we need? Yeah, but that's my point. So none of these other films were really designed to have a franchise. You know what I mean? Right. So they might have figured out a way. You could always figure out a way. Always figure out a way.
Oh, Nerd Journal says like that. Nerd Journal says, speaking of movies that should not be franchised, Phil Mento tore Quiet Place 2 a new asshole.
Why would you need A Quiet Place 2? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. And I mean, when I'm watching the first one and the father, I was like, why are you setting up your home so far away from the goddamn waterfall? If noise is what distracts these things and makes them blind to you, why not just set up everything by the waterfall? That way you're close to your water source and there's no risk going back and forth.
Yeah.
But you couldn't hear them then. That's another problem.
No, but they wouldn't be able to hear you. They'd have no reason to come over there.
Perfect camouflage.
Yeah, and you can see and they can't. So you don't have to worry about noise because the waterfall masks all the noise. Then you can see them coming and then just go inside the trailer or go inside the home that you've set up and then just wait for them to go away. And then you're good to go. And then
but then we wouldn't have a movie. What the fuck?
So the movie didn't happen.
Exactly. What do we call that? Because plot.
Oh yeah, Jinju behind the waterfall. So
Yeah.
it's like, come on. It's like, come on now.
I
Really?
guess.
Well,
And
behind the waterfall could be really echoey, so that might potentially draw them there. But definitely around the waterfall, which helps drown out the noise. Yeah. And why the fuck are you taking your kid to the store? Why are you taking your whole family to the store? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad decision making, bad logic, bad plot holes.
There's a few plot holes,
and I mean, it was and the sort of thing. It wasn't even like us. I watched it and was like, oh my god. But then 15 minutes after the movie was over, I started thinking about. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. And I felt like Jordan Peele like slipped one by me. I was like, you motherfucker. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I see what you did there. You're good.
You're good.
But I was watching Quiet Place. I was like, why the fuck are you doing this?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why do you bring a child with a toy on a run? It's just, nonetheless,
Yeah.
I digress on that one. But
why you bring your family? Period. As long as they're all carrying a whole bunch of shit.
Hey, you know what? Listen, you could compare it to America over the last year. At first, we were all really, careful in this pandemic, and then at the end of it, we're kind of like, fuck it. If it gets us, it gets us. And that's exactly how. But
that's how we got ourselves in this problem in the first place.
That's why there's a Quiet Place 2.
But how is he back? Did he die?
No, it's a flashback. It's a flashback to before the events. And yeah, he died in the first one. So
he was dead in the first one. Now suddenly he's back. What is he? Cyclops?
Yeah.
Anyways,
fucking that. What do we got next?
We went back to Jordan Peele on that one. That was crazy.
We did.
But anyways, as Johnny was just pushing things along, I want to ask the audience a question before we move on to the next film. What do you guys think about the way that this film could have impacted the genre, positively or negatively? It looked like some of you had watched it, and somebody accidentally watched the Raimi Intruder instead.
Oh yeah, I saw that. They watched it.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too. Don't worry about it. But let us know in the comments. Live chat, weekinhorror@gmail.com.
And yes, Beaver C says it's nice to see you. And good to see you, Beaver C. Glad you're able to drop in. Says it's nice to see I'm not the only one who picks apart horror movies. Gotta love them though. Do love them. Our favorite fucking genre. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this going into our third year. So, but yeah, we try to deep dive and figure stuff like this out. But instead of just doing reviews just seem boring to me. Anybody can do a review,
right?
But I wanted us as to use our filmmaker expertise, our filmmaker experience, and our expertise going into these things like filmmakers to discuss it from that point of view, from the people who work in the industry. So that's why we love and we love that you guys come along with us on this ride. It's pretty awesome.
I don't know what kind of ride it is though. It's a psychedelic ride.
Yeah. So I guess I'm up next.
You are.
I am up next.
Yeah, my camera totally just froze.
If your name is not JL, then you're not next.
Well, that is me. So yeah, carrying on with moving on to our second one. August 4th, 2012, this film released. 100 Bloody Acres.
Hey, there you are. Sorry, you guys totally just buffered.
I think we're good now. But 100 Bloody Acres, directed by Cameron Cairns and Colin Cairns, the Cairns brothers, written by the Cairns brothers as well, starring Damon Harriman, Angus Sampson, Anna McGann. And in a nutshell, this is an Australian horror comedy that follows two brothers who run an organic fertilizer business, unbeknownst to the people that they sell to, and they've recently become very popular. And unbeknownst to the people they sell to, they have a secret ingredient. And the secret ingredient is people, because that's people always makes it better. But when the brothers make a habit of picking up dead motorists out of the outback who get into car accidents, and there's no one out there, and they find dead motorists and haul them back and then grind them up, put it, they're the secret ingredient, the fertilizer. But when there's a drought of dead motorists, you got to get creative when the orders come due. And that's what the brothers do. And then hilarity and shit gets real. Hilarity ensues and shit gets real. So this movie, it had me laughing my ass off. It was gruesome, gory, but ultimately hysterical. The two brothers, Damon Harriman, Angus Sampson, those two were fucking hilarious, playing off one another. I enjoyed watching them. It was like, because it was brothers. I could believe that these guys were brothers. The older brother, the younger brother, they're diametrically opposed, yet they both have a singular goal. But as far as personality, it reminded me of me and my brother. Only the roles were switched. I would have been Leslie in this role, and he would have been I forgot the other guy's name.
Morgan?
Reg. He would have been Reg.
Reg.
So my brother's Reg. He's the more calm head level. I'm one Lindsay's like, fuck this shit. We got to clean this stuff up right now. We got business to take care of. But the movie was damn funny, and I love it. And I love Australian horror because they're so tongue in cheek, and they never take themselves too seriously. That's why Australian horror is so much fun, and not to mention a cool surprise little cameo in there. John Jarrett from the Wolf Creek series popped in there as a cop, as a police officer of all things, pops in there to chat with and has this great little back and forth scene, just shooting the shit with Angus Sampson. So, but God, this was a fun movie. I really enjoyed it. I was like, I hadn't heard much about it, but damn, this was a good one.
I like the part where he slams the guy's hand and cuts his fingers off.
And when he had the very fits like that. Oh, shit.
A lot of little things like that crack me up. I like that little attention to detail.
I dug. I enjoyed it because it had obviously this played on the country versus the city trope, and so you had country folk who are out in their rural sticks doing whatever they do versus,
or as we like to call them, hillbillies.
Yeah, so you had the hillbillies versus the city folk, and then the city folk are the ones, because invariably in this movie there winds up being hostages, people are held, and threatened and tortured and all kinds of shit. But in this particular one, it's the same thing. It's hillbillies versus city folk, and I love that trope. I really do. It's kind of offensive when you think about it because it's marginalizing the entire group of people that are typically not well understood because of the lack of socialization with rural and city. It's not like the two really cross paths all that often unless city folk happen to be traveling through the rural territories, and that's why it can be fish out of water. It can be cultural misunderstandings, or it can be you wind up fertilizer in some hillbilly's truck. But I love that trope. It makes for awesome comedy and horror.
So Johnny, if JL comes rolling into our side of town, do we just throw him into the wood chipper?
Given where I live now, that's now my job.
Yeah, he's a hillbilly now.
It used to be Johnny's job because he was the most rural out of the three of us, but now I'm the most rural out of all three of us, or out of all four of us. Now I'm the most rural. So, I mean, if you look at my personal YouTube channel, you'll see I showed you a shot of of what I'm living next to. So I'm the most rural now, so now it's my job to keep the wood chipper. I have to keep the wood chipper hot and sharp in case anybody comes through my territory.
Yeah, the good old wood chipper. That way, these college kids can just commit suicide.
Yes, there was
not some sort of suicide pact.
Sheriff, we have had us a doozy of a day.
Anytime you get these horror comedy, that's automatically I go, especially like horror buddy comedy type thing. I automatically go to Tucker and Dale.
and it had hallmarks. It had hallmarks of an American film, and immediately it was an American film and an American horror film and an English horror film. It had echoes of Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and it had echoes of Burke and Hare, which is actually based on a true story, legitimately.
Burke and Hare. So Burke and Hare, for those of you who don't know, the Burke and Hare murders there were 16 people, and I think it was like 1862, Edinburgh, Scotland. Science was picking up. People were in the market for cadavers for scientific research, and so the only way that you were allowed to have a cadaver if it was natural death or suicide or bodies that were unidentified, and all of a sudden there was like this shortage of bodies. So
why are people dying?
So William Burke and William Hare decided to start a business, as anybody does in a supply and demand market, of selling cadavers that they had created.
They were selling their skeletons, weren't they?
Yeah. There was cadavers involved as well.
Okay.
I was actually listening to another podcast that covered in detail like the way that these went down, and it was actually pretty brutal. They murdered one girl and sold. Can't remember if it was they sold it to like a famous. There was a famous name attached to one of the bodies that they sold, but yeah. So they killed people and sold their bodies. It's like,
well, it started out they started out grave digging because that seemed to be easy. Just
yeah.
look for
Well, they were undertakers.
Yeah, look for people who are recently buried, and then just dig them up, steal the body, and then cover it back up. No one's ever going to know the difference.
Yeah.
But but then when that stops working, because people like that, we got to start. You make your product. You go into manufacturing. That's how you do it. You control the supply so that you can set the price in the worst possible way.
I just don't know. People were so desperate for cadavers that they were just going to buy it off of these two sketchy fuckers and like
two guys come to the back door. We got a body for you. It's like, sure. Here's your 9p. Oh man. Oh dang, we have someone new here. Thor Rasmussen is in the house. Good to see you. I know Thor from several other channels. It's his first time here. Reason he's not a horror movie guy. Tend to get nightmares many nights after. That's what we say around here. Stay scared. But good to see you, Thor. So glad you're able to drop by. Nerd Journal says Charlie Welch. It was still a little better than a lot of the BS we get these days. Just a lot of the choices they make are just silly. Agreed. That's what movies like this are made by the choices that the characters make, which you can see if you were in their shoes in the moment, seemed logical. But holy shit, on the outside, it was like, why would you do that? Well, I can see if he's panicking and he's like trying to juggle, he's trying to keep all these plates spinning, he does something ridiculous. But it just sometimes like, oh shit, it's like Tucker Dale versus Evil. You're looking at the hillbilly guys from their perspective, it's like, oh fuck, we trying to make sense of everything. You look at the college kids, the college kids, and trying to figure out what's going through their heads. Who else? Let me see here. I think somebody else was saying that. Sarcasm says, this is awesome. Such a gem that I never would have seen if not for Week in Horror, and that's why I keep coming back every week. We find them so we can talk about them. And holy shit, my horror movie database is getting so big. It's getting enormous. And Chris Durham, music channel, says, stop making fun of city people. What are we going to do?
City folk.
Oh, yes, Logical Hillbilly. You got Logical Hillbilly says, yeehaw, go Hillbillies.
In Oklahoma too, but not like in Texas. It's like hard to not live in the country. There's so much freaking land out here.
True. Absolutely. So, yeah, and Jinju's right that learned of Burke and Hare from Horrible Histories. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yes, and the George said, we are on 100 Bloody Acres now. That's what we were chatting about. Let me see here. But yes, it had echoes of those, which I thought was really, really cool. I like that kind of that storytelling, that version of that kind of plays with it. I guess people making the best situations that they got. One of my good friends, Irish Demon, who runs his own, who has his own YouTube channel, lives in Australia, is very familiar with the Outback because I think he lived outside of Perth. Knows the Outback well and knows how treacherous and dangerous that whole the interior is of that continent. And so the idea that people could get into car accidents and no one would know. There's no cell phone access. No, you'll see like one car maybe every 10, 12 hours. Sometimes not even, sometimes longer than that. And sometimes you get in a car accident, you're off the road, nobody will see you, And given the number of animals are out there and given how sparse and how dangerous it is, people picking off the dead in order to do something like this is not out of the realm of possibility. And people disappear in the Outback all the time. And so I like it has that kind of grain of reality to it, and also the comedy in that of these guys just doing what they do. Beaver C says college kids always seem to taste good in horror movies. But yeah, I love that. I love the country versus city trope. I enjoy it because it makes for good horror. Because, like you said, it could be a misunderstanding, like in Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, good.
Die, you hillbilly fucker. He tries to pull him out in his fucking legs. It's like, It's great.
I only watched that movie because when I first saw it, because it had Alan Tudyk in it, and everything he does is just fucking gold. Everything Alan Tudyk does is good. The rest of the movie could be shit, but he is always, Yeah. Such a fan of that Plano
you got a fucking poster, don't you?
He's a Texas native.
He was a Texas native, yeah. Yep, went to Plano High. And high he was.
I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I really dug 100 Bloody Acres. It's super, super funny. Kind of one of those low-key gems that just comes across because here in the States, we just don't get a lot of unless you're like in the RSS feeds for a lot of these news for all of the news sites like Bloody Disgusting or Dread Central or anything of that, Rue Morgue or something. Then you typically won't know about these. They just don't get unless you come across a lot of these. I came across randomly on like Microsoft, on the Microsoft store. I'll go looking for horror movies I haven't seen, and I got to go way down to the bottom to find the stuff that comes out overseas. And then you get perfectly awesome movies like this that deserve way more play than they got. But strongly recommend it. Great stuff for everybody. This is a great little like evening movie. But I'm curious. I want to ask the audience of in this trope of horror films of country folk versus city folk, hillbillies versus city folk, or hill people or whatever. What is your favorite hill people, swamp people, mud people, whatever you want to call them? I don't know, but these of this trope, what is your favorite horror film that has this trope in it? Whether it's a horror comedy or whatever, just a straight horror film. Let us know. weekinhorror@gmail.com. Let us know in the comments below. Love to hear what your favorites were in this little subgenre.
Tucker and Dale, hands down.
Hands down.
Hands down. Yeah. Yeah.
What I really did, what I liked that had this trope. It didn't focus on the trope, but it had the trope. Was Pumpkinhead.
Yep.
It's true.
And I love that because it
that
didn't
old
just
witch was fucking scary. As shit.
Yes.
God damn.
And
he was worse than the damn monster.
And I loved it because it didn't go into trying to set them up that these are their people. They just have fundamental different outlooks on the world.
Right.
And that's what I liked about that. It didn't try to pigeonhole them into it was like, nope, they just look at the world differently. That's it. And I like that. And it didn't try to stereotype either one of the sides, which I enjoyed. And Wrong Turn. George said Wrong Turn is objectively the best. Inbred hillbillies.
Yeah. I mean,
is there any other kind?
No. That's called it. Now you're going to get us in trouble.
That's
Jesus.
true. Yeah.
All right. Johnny, you're up next. Let us know. And I understand the one that I gave you is this could be a little touchy. Yes. I get it. So we will approach this subject with we'll put gloves on.
Yep.
And
get gloves
as
on.
we approach this, absolutely.
All right. So fucking hell.
Guys.
Yeah, I didn't either. Body cam is a.
I say this as I chug the rest of my monster.
Mm.
Oh! That was completely unnecessary.
It was. It's like those Japanese ASMR videos where they're eating the noodles. Like fuck off. I hate that.
Gross.
I just want to stab my ears. Anyway. This was originally scheduled for a May 19th or May 2019 release date, but because of obvious reasons, Body Cam was digitally released May 19th of 2020, and then I think went to VOD on June 2nd. But it's an American police procedural horror film directed by Malik Vittal, screenplay by Nicholas McCarthy and Richmond Rydell, story by Rydell. Film stars Mary J. Blige, Nat Wolff, David Zayas, David Warfsky, and Demetrius Gross, and Anna Non-Rose. And sorry, my glasses went all weird. Arnika Noni Rose. I think it takes place in Louisiana, and there's a police officer pulls over a van for not having license plates. Go figure. The officer demands that the driver leaves the vehicle, and then there's a bloody rag. Notices aggressive, and basically what happens was it's a wrongful death by the police that turns in true Eugene fashion. Shit gets real.
Oh yeah.
So basically, after this wrongful death by the police, the officers involved, everybody involved, are stalked by JL's favorite type of thing, ghosts.
You're so funny.
Well, I mean, I got to be something, right? I don't know what you guys got from this one here. I was only able to watch bits and pieces here and there during my small breaks at work. This one was extremely heavy-handed with its social commentary.
Yeah.
Which I generally don't like. I don't like heavy-handed social commentary. I can understand why this one is so heavy-handed when it comes to social commentary, but I wish there would have been a little bit more cloak and dagger, or, whatever.
So go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say you can't really cloak and dagger this movie. I mean, I see what you're saying by trying to kind of keep it hush hush, but it is what it is, and it played what it was supposed to be very well. I think it wasn't. When we started talking about this and how we wanted to approach it, I watched this film and I didn't really feel uncomfortable. I don't think it pushed too hard on anything it shouldn't have, is what I'm trying to say. And it's hard because it's a cop, but it's a cop film and something happens and then it ultimately is a supernatural horror movie, and it ends up playing out really well. The acting was iffy, and the script was kind of iffy, but it ultimately was a good story. I think what they were trying to purvey made it a good story.
Go ahead, Jail.
I agree. Mary J. Blige was an interesting casting choice.
Absolutely.
I didn't think she did too bad.
I like Mary J. Blige. She's done well in the past, but she's never played a role like this before, which I found was interesting. And she did admirably for given that I like it when actors push in areas they're not comfortable with.
Right.
And you could tell. I mean, unfortunately, you could tell that this was new for her, but she gave it her all, and I got to commend her for that. She also was surrounded by a lot of veteran actors, particularly David Zayas, who actually was a police officer. I think he was a police officer with the NYPD before he left, and then he went into acting. People remember him as Sergeant Batista in the Dexter series. The guy knows how to do police work and police procedural. I enjoyed the film, and I agree with Johnny. Both of you are correct. Alex, you're right. It was a decent movie. It was decently enjoyable. I found a couple of things. I found the typical leaps that you make, that the plot leaps you make to make the movie work. I found those a little bit too obvious, but it was a manageable film. I also agree with you, Johnny. This thing was like getting hit in the head with a sledgehammer. Now, if this movie had released in 2017, 2016, 2015, maybe not. But in light of the atmosphere of what's going on right now, you got to wonder this timing. And I'm not going to try and sound conspiratorial here. The timing here is very suspect because I understand that we had the kind of like the log alergy thing going on,
right?
That delayed a lot of things, but man, there could not be a hotter topic than what was going on in this. I've seen cops in horror films. They make for good mix. Maniac Cop, Psycho Cop, and then the ones and a lot of them are thrillers. They're not always like straight up horror films. A lot of them are thrillers, like Unlawful Entry, Blue Steel, or was it Blue? It was the one with Kurt Russell.
Black and Blue? No.
But you remember which one I'm talking about. Yeah, and then of course there was the ensemble one with Don Cheadle and Richard Gere and Ethan Hawke. So we get the thrillers and like that. It lends itself to that darkness, to that dark side of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because
you have that authoritative abuse of power,
right?
That's so easy to just. You could just fucking write material on that for days.
Exactly. And so it lends itself to a good horror setup as well. Police officers and horror.
Right.
When the authority figures are out of control and the authority figures are like doing whatever they want, when it's all Stanford prison experiment time, things get it lends itself to the genre. It really does.
Yeah.
But this particular film, this particular time, it felt was a bit heavy-handed. I questioned the timing on it. Despite the fact that the story would have worked if they just held off on it, a little bit, but because this wasn't exactly like it was a vehicle for anybody.
That's true. I don't know. I like you said, the heavy-handedness of it for me was a distraction.
It does. It can pull you out of the film. because you're
Yeah.
you're too aware of what's going on, and even if the film wasn't intended to be social commentary, you can't help but just, I mean, it's
there's no
it.
way. Yeah, there's no way that wasn't the intention. It's they might as well just spoon feed it to you.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that they, like you said, JL, it was timing. I think they were trying to point a finger at it, but at the same time, it was probably meant to be pointed earlier, before we had such a big problem with that in the United States. So when they started it, when they wrote it, like you were saying, it was always something that was there. But then we haven't taken a stand against it until recently as a people. And I mean, there's been things here and there, but like you're saying, it's such a big topic now that would it have played differently earlier on than it did, because I guess, talking about it out loud with somebody, I guess maybe it was pushing boundaries that maybe it didn't need to touch. And I guess that could probably turn a lot of people away from it, or, make somebody mad at it, which is not necessarily the reaction you want to get when you're putting a film out. Definitely could have hurt it.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah, just so much of these I don't want to. This film, because of the subject matter, it's a difficult one to talk about because I don't want to sound offensive, but like I just keep going back to the heavy-handedness of the commentary, and there are so many better ways that you can do it that keeps the film intriguing, interesting, and makes you think. Like, I don't have to think when I'm watching this movie.
Right.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what it's about. I know exactly what's going on, or what they're trying to tell me. It doesn't make for a very impressionable film.
True.
Oh, I want to say with Commander Darklight, one of our amazing patrons has jumped in as come by to see us, says, hey, Commander Darklight, good to see you. Let me see here. What people had some thoughts about this one. So Nerd Journal says Deliver Us from Evil was a cop horror movie. It wasn't bad, but wasn't really good. We actually covered that one a few weeks ago. We talked about Deliver Us from Evil, the one based on the supernatural experience of that one New York NYPD detective. But we covered that one a few weeks back. And yeah, I thought the third act, they kind of dropped the ball. NA is in the house. Good, another one of our amazing patrons. Good to see you, NA. And no, we're not on Thursdays. We had to push it this week. I made the announcement in the Discord server. We had to push it just because technical issues and real life just got in the way. So this is not going to be a normal thing. We're still going to go Wednesdays. Just happened to have a difficulty this week. And the George says, I mean, this movie had something to say, but it kept saying it and saying it and saying it. I think the script could have been shaved down, and some of the points raised don't give us enough to think about aside from police violence is bad, which is a good start, but the conversation goes much deeper than that. And agree.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If they would have focused on, the negative relationship that the police have with, especially the inner city stuff, or the between the black communities, and just that natural distrust that's there because of how, like, a lot of people don't realize that in the States, the police force in the South was realistically was put together as a result of the end of slavery. All we did is we took these slave catchers and put badges on them and repurposed them to still go after target black folk.
Right.
But that's kind of where that distrust between, these communities in Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, et cetera, the South, where black people inherently don't trust the police because of this deep-seated, deep-rooted systemic racism. And there's so much that this film could have done to comment on that would have made the audience think a little bit more instead of just saying, hey, police violence is bad, like Anna George said.
I would have, I agree. And I would have loved a little bit more explanation of the supernatural side, go a little bit deeper on that edge. And, it's like, we could say that you could use the police violence or police, you could use the whole situation with the police as, or like corrupt police as a kind of framing. Whereas this is what leads us to our story, and then we go through our story, and then we get resolution to what led us into the frame. And then I think that would have worked. I would have loved more exploration of the supernatural aspects of the film, especially considering the relationship with the mother I would have enjoyed that. I would have liked to see more of that, but it did. And I think I don't know if somebody was trying to send a message or trying to, it was like, oh, I've got something to say and I'm going to use the horror genre to do it. But movies like this, and this is just my opinion, I respect all filmmakers who get a movie in the can. Whatever it is, I respect it. But I honestly, as a filmmaker and as an audience member, I don't believe that movies like this do the genre any service. Because
they certainly they don't accomplish what they're trying to accomplish.
Exactly, yeah. They don't accomplish that because the people who are going to watch it are going to be people in the horror movie genre. So if you're trying to have a message, do it in a film, and you want to do it via film, I would say don't have social commentary, but don't try to have a political message, something you're putting forward in a horror film, because the majority of people who are going to watch it are going to be horror movie fans, and it's not what we're looking for in our horror movies.
At least not a supernatural in a supernatural way.
Well, no, I mean, I don't have a problem with him posing a political question or social norms or challenging whatever. I don't have a problem with that. Just don't fucking write it in crayon all over the goddamn film.
Don't beat us over the head with it. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I think that's
Make us think about it. Make us think about it.
Make your point.
Lay the question down and allow that to be what we would, well, I'm going to think about this for a little bit.
Right.
Don't come in.
Don't tell me the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
You're saying spark curiosity and not hate.
Spark curiosity and don't give me a test. Okay.
Right.
Don't say, hey, this is a review for a quiz that's coming at the end of the year. No, here's a question. What do you think about it?
Well, thank you, Commander Darklight. I appreciate it. He says my room is looking awesome. I am quite pleased with it, and more stuff is coming to add to it. So it's looking really, really good.
Tony, we're going to get rid of JL's bad lighting and make it all look really nice and make
it's not. It's technically not that bad. I mean, it's going to improve, but it's better than it was.
It's the glare off your poster back there that draws attention away from your glorious
the glare off of my head.
No, I'm not. No, the glare off. Yeah, okay, fine. No, but seriously though, it's the glare back there. It catches the eye. It makes me not look at JL. JL has a lot of interesting things to say.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, Tony Regime says Rambo never would have happened if the cops weren't out of control in First Blood.
Cops out of control. That's actually.
And then
true.
Sarcasm says Rambo wouldn't have happened if John hadn't insisted on raw burgers.
Also, very true.
Solid point.
Solid point. Interesting. Interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, I can say it wasn't a terrible film. I think the timing of it was suspect. And of course, the social commentary, just beating you over the head with the social commentary, I think ultimately took away from what could have been just a serviceable story and an opportunity to see Mary J. Blige kind of flex her wings. Because even that, like I said, I love seeing actors stray out of their comfort zones. I love seeing them taking on something new. That's why we like to see them. That's why we pay them this much money, so that they can to see their talent and watch them flex. Just like we pay Denzel gets paid. Exactly, Denzel gets paid what he paid because he does shit like Training Day. It's like, holy fuck. That's the reason that man is paid what he's paid.
Shot me in the ass.
Shot me in the ass. But I mean, that's why we love it. But when you do something like this, it overshadows that. And I don't think any of the actors were done any service in this one, because you're too busy being like smashed in the face with a concept that you just don't see everything else. Then you kind of at some point you almost check out. So. And the George said
there were a few scenes in there where they were developing really well, and then the filmmakers came in and said, "Police violence bad."
Yeah. And the George says jail never has any. Jail says and the George said jail never has anything interesting to say. That's why you're here, Johnny. Someone's trying.
I'm just a clown.
Someone's trying to curry favor.
I think so. All right, so seeing how this is a cop horror film, I want to ask the audience, what is your favorite cop horror film? Let us know down in the comment section or weekinhorror@gmail.com.
How much cop has to be involved in it? Are we talking
I think if the antagonist is
a cop?
No, I see if the antagonist is an officer, or it takes place in a police station, or police response is a serious part of the film.
Okay. So the Terminator doesn't count. I'm just kidding.
I would say no, because one scene was that, and he literally wood chippered his way straight through the police station and then walked out the other side. It's pretty much how that went down. I would say my favorite is Maniac Cop, just because fucking hell, it's just so fucking goofy and so crazy silly, and the people in it are so stupid, and I like it when stupid people get put through the wood chipper.
I mean, it was nice.
Oh, Jinju says End of Days
with Arnie.
With Arnie, you're a fucking choir boy compared to me. A choir boy.
Choir boy.
Oh, Nerd Journal. Last Shift, and yes, Last Shift was excellent.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I can't really think of any good police horror films, cop horror films.
Tony Regime says Maniac Cop and Spiral, and he's right. Spiral was way better than we expected. Spiral was
it? I haven't seen it yet.
Spiral was quite good because he's like Chris Rock, Sam Jackson, a Saw film. Really, I was quite impressed, especially how it ended up. It wasn't overwrought, and it didn't. And I mean, it wasn't trying to be like we're a Saw film. No, it felt fresh. I enjoyed it. It was way better than you'd expect it to be. I'm not talking like A grade. It's better than Saw, but it was way better than it was. Like, wow, holy shit. Okay, I was thinking this is gonna come in at like a D. It came in at a solid B. So
I'll take it.
All right. Well, Alex, you've got our last one for the night.
I'm
so glad I got to show this. So glad you guys got to finally watch this fucking movie.
It went.
We're gonna end on an up note for sure.
Just went left real fucking quick.
I fucking love this movie. It's so fucking.
Was that your Forrest Gump impersonation?
Alex, take it away, man. Fucking.
All right, we're talking about Student Bodies. This is August 7th, 1981.
That's why.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, just you laughing. You laughing. You couldn't even say it without laughing.
I know.
This movie is great.
Even the poster, what was it, like 13 and a half murders plus 1,423 laughs.
Yeah.
It's just, the whole thing was ridiculous. But so this is directed by Mickey Rose and Michael Ritchie. Starring Kristen Ritter, Matthew Goldsby, Jerry Belson, Joe Flood, Joe Tolowatsky, Mimi Wendell, and Carl Jacobs. And so this can only be described. There was a killer named the Breather that would find students. Every time he found a student that was having sex, he'd kill them. He was like JL was earlier. He just breathes, prank calls, and talks through a rubber chicken.
And that was the sound. It was whenever the breather's on the phone, he calls the phone. Sarcasm says, "Student Bodies reminded me that I spent most of the '80s stoned."
Oh my god, the backwards shirt, dude. Yeah,
I absolutely love this fucking movie. Number one, the big thing about Student Bodies is this was the first legitimate slasher parody that was there, or the first slasher satire, a film that satirized the entire slasher genre, all of it, all of the tropes in it. This is the first one of its kind to come down the pipe, which I think deserves honor. With like big mention here is they basically Weird Al'd the entire slasher genre. So everything, I mean, all of it. I think they hit Halloween, they hit Friday the 13th, they hit Prom Night. A number of other ones that came along, just all these tiny little tropes that were set up, and Student Bodies put them all in their head. And I wanted to talk about this one because there's so much in it. I wanted to chat about what were your favorite parts in the movie, because I've seen this movie multiple times, and I know this is the first time you guys got to watch it. So Alex, give me your what did you get? You didn't know what you were going into, right?
No. No, like, how did you even find this? Was this a thing that you?
Dude,
had
I
seen?
saw this on fucking late night TV, and like I think it was probably like 80. No, I think it was probably like 88 or 89. I happened to catch it, and I think I remember distinctly turning out because my parents had like the cable box in the late 80s, and my mother got one.
You were rich.
My mother got one. My mother had access to things anyway, so we had cable in the 80s, and my mother. The skin channels were obviously all pay you. Those were all locked, but there were channels that showed horror film that showed like something. That's how I watched Current Affair. Like that, there were channels out there that showed adult like horror films and shit that weren't behind paywalls. That just came because it unlocked kind of like the channel package, and so I would occasionally go to like these. I can't even remember. It was like channel 27 on the cable box, and then it would be like horror movies at a particular time. So I would go there, and my mother didn't like me watching them, so I would go when they were at home, and I would say, "Whoa, what's on channel 27? Oh, what's this?" And that's how I saw Happy Birthday to Me for the first time, and
TV.
Exactly. And so this had happened to be one of the ones I caught, and I remember turning it on and the girl like on the phone. Who is this? What do you want? and I was hooked, and I had to sit down and watch the whole fucking thing. And then the next one was when choosing the murder weapons. It's like, all the different things that he can choose from, and then he picks up the fucking paper clip.
It was just so much. You can't even.
I wouldn't hurt a fly.
What makes your voice sound so funny?
Yeah.
I thought it sounded like you were talking through Rubber Chicken. And then they gained an R rating because of the one line in the movie.
Yes, because the one line
speech, and he's like to the producers of this motion picture, or the producers have asked me to say "fuck you" or whatever.
What was it? It was there's no graphic violence or foul language in the movie, except for the one moment. It was like a film must contain full frontal nudity, graphic violence, or an explicit reference to the sex act. He intones that R-rated films are by far the most popular. So the producers of this motion picture have asked me to take this opportunity to say, "Fuck you," and they got an R rating. And there was a slide, and they did a slide into it that indicated that it went for PG-13. So it was like ding R. It's like R because they do like little slide-ins, and they counted the body count, which is like she's in the principal's office. I would never hurt a fly. 6.5. It drops and bumps in the body count to 6.5. Like, this shit is fucking brilliant.
Oh, that's great.
And then, of course,
did you hang up? No, I just said click.
I just said click.
I'm gonna kill you at the next football game. Click. Did you just hang up? No, I just said click. Click.
It totally catches Jeff Guard. Not to mention, I want to give special mention one thing that I loved. I don't know how you took it because he's kind of weird. But there is a dude in this. He was a comedian. And I want to make sure I get his name right. Where's he at? Yes. Patrick Boone Varnell. Okay, Patrick Boone Varnell was a comedian, and this was his only movie that he ever made. And he was a comedian whose stage name was The Stick, and that's because Patrick has super long, lanky arms, and I believe
he looks like a stick.
He looks like a stick, and he's double jointed. So it's like Doug Jones in like Legion when he was like all straight like this, and he could do weird fucking shit. The guy is like, I think he was like 6'3" when he passed. He was like 145 pounds or 140 pounds. Yeah. So he's literally just like limbs, and he'll do like weird contortionist shit, which was part of his comedic shtick. And he plays the janitor, Malvert. Yes, Malvert the janitor. And he has these goofy fucking lines, like these one-offs that make people feel weird. Huge ass Coke bottle glasses, and he's the guy who brings
goofy looking.
He's a goofy motherfucker, and he's the guy who brings the blow-up doll as his date to the football game.
Blow-up doll flies away.
It's fucking insane. And the fucking and then the woodshop teacher with the horse head, the horse head bookends. He's carrying this horse head bookend around. I have got to stream this movie to the Discord channel. But I love the send-ups, and I think they hit so many movies in this. Yeah, like I said, it was Friday the 13th, Halloween, Prom Night, When a Stranger Calls, which is the phone stuff, The Shining, Carnival of Souls, Black Christmas, Carrie. Even at the end it has the Carrie deal, where which is like, the hand comes up out of the grave to grab the killer, shit, and the multiple endings, and playing on multiple endings, like and the Wizard of Oz ending.
Clue.
Kind of.
No.
Except it's in the.
I had a terrible dream, and you were there, and you were there.
Yeah, you were there. No, but yeah, that's the clue from the stage play.
But I'm brilliant. I'm
Nothing.
brilliant.
Nothing.
No.
Wait, where is he? Nothing. You didn't see. You know that, right? That's the reason why Clue had 4 or 3 different endings.
Oh, the movie itself.
Yeah, because the stage play Clue had, depending on what night you went, you got a different ending.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
neat. Very cool.
No, this one was great.
Nice segue, Johnny.
Just fucking try to educate you uncultured swine, and this is the thanks I get.
What was your take, Alex?
You're over here talking about blow up dolls and stick man. I'm over here trying to give you fucking.
You leave my blow up dolls out of this.
Sarcasm says the only way it could have been any funnier is if they had put National Lampoons in front of the title.
They should have put National. I'm surprised this wasn't a National Lampoon.
National Lampoon Student Bodies.
Yeah.
That even has a ring to it.
Yeah,
it could have worked.
I'm surprised it wasn't a National Lampoon's film.
It definitely could have worked. No, this I was just reading a bit of trivia on this because I was just so interested in how the fuck these people were thinking.
This thing was shot in Texas, right?
Yeah, I was just reading that in Houston. And if you call the phone number that is at the beginning of the movie, when he first makes a phone call, there's like a little plate that you can see with the phone number on it, and you get a sports bar in like Houston or an athletics bar in Houston.
Nice.
Yeah, there's just so much to this. Go watch this movie. But seriously, are we done talking about this one? Because we could go on forever.
No, I wanted to get your take on it because I know this is the first time you saw it. Like,
it was absolutely out of all the bullshit that you make me watch, this was definitely the funniest.
There's a lot of bullshit on this. I mean,
there's a lot of shit up there. I mean, there's you've got satirical horror films. I mean, you could even call I don't know. Not Doctor Strangelove. What was the one that was written by Woody Allen? 70s.
Well, that's
nothing.
Pretty much,
It wasn't like a horror film though. That was the thing. Sleeper. Not quite as a horror film, but it's satirical from that time period. This was great though. You got to watch this. If you haven't seen this, this is it's not even it's not. I don't even know. Could you call it a horror movie? Is it technically a horror movie? Because
it technically is a horror movie.
A killer movie. It's almost like Scream. It's better than Scary Movie for sure.
Was it sarcasm? Sometimes Malvert P. Red. Massive spin take on that one. Absolutely.
Who am I thinking of? The old guy that's in all the Martin Sheen vibes. No, like Airplane.
Oh,
not
the pilot.
Yeah, what the fuck is his name?
Yeah. Are you talking about? Do you like movies about gladiators?
Yeah,
talking about that dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was not Martin Sheen.
No, I know.
No, he said Martin Sheen vibe. I can't remember his name. I can see his face.
Leslie.
Oh wait, Leslie Nielsen. That's the we're all counting on you.
No. Nope.
God, what is the pilot's name?
We're staring at computers and we're like, what?
Yeah, I can't find the name. Peter Graves.
Peter Graves.
That's the guy.
Peter Graves is Captain Clarence over.
Yeah, that was the.
Yep.
Joey,
that humor
do you like movies about gladiators?
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Oh, Christopher
Peter
Music Channel
Graves.
says Peter Graves, L.
Yeah,
but I dug this one. I'm so glad that I got to show it to you guys. I find it absolutely circle, and I see that a lot of people in the live chat have not seen this one either. So recommend it. Roger, what's your vector, Victor? And I'm seriously going. I'm going to stream this one in the Discord channel as one of our movie nights. I'm going to be showing this one. I guarantee it because everyone needs to see it. This needs. You got clearance, Clarence.
What's your
nerd journal said? What's your clearance? What's your clearance? Oh no, what's your vector, Victor?
Vector,
yeah. And nerd journal says, when I was younger, for some reason, I liked this dumb movie called Dr. Giggles.
You should have lost that one.
Doctor,
we did lose that one. That's right.
We did a debate. It's funny that you mentioned that, Nerd Journal. We do bloodbath debates as part of the extended content here at Week in Horror, and we did a bloodbath debate where we debate horror icons who would win in a fight to the death. We did Dr. Giggles versus the Dentist. And you can find that wherever you listen to podcasts at Week in Horror, or you can go to anchor.fm/weekinhorror and you listen to our bloodbath debates there. See if you agree with us.
Spoiler alert, Roger Dorn won.
Major League. I'm gonna piss on your contract first chance I get. And the George says, when you say parody horror, I still think of Scream. And I would say, but Scream is more meta horror.
That's satire.
Yeah. And then though most people think Scary Movie, I think Scream is one of the best because many don't even realize it's parody. I don't think it's a parody. I actually think it's meta horror.
It's satire. It's definitely a satire film. And Scary Movie would be a parody of a satire, which is really weird circle of jerks there. But yeah.
It's too many tropes.
But definitely Student Bodies, absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't want to give too much away because it's a lot of fun. We already talked a whole bunch about it, and even as much as we talked about, we still didn't give away the whole of the deal. It's one of the things you got to experience.
You probably know nothing about the movie after we finished talking about it.
I know, right? We just basically touched on everything. Like you have no idea how important. You have no idea how counting the body count into the fractions to horsehead bookends, blow up dolls, and killing people, killing people with paper clips. How this all wraps up into one storyline, but yeah, definitely.
No, absolutely. But this,
horsehead.
Oh boy. Where we have derailed. What are we doing?
No, but it's on Alex now. It's on Alex.
No, absolutely. But no, it's seriously this was freaking hilarious. Worth every minute of comedy and a little bit of slasher in there. So I'd like to ask the audience, now that we're talking about the difference between satire and parody, what are your favorite satire horror movies? Because there's a whole shitload of them out of there, and JL just kind of explained the difference between a satire and a parody. Or I'm sorry, Johnny, satire parody. So what are your favorite satire horror movies? Let us know in the comments. Let us know at weekinhorror.gmail.com. Go to JL's house in Bartlesby, Oklahoma.
You can't even remember the name.
You can't even remember where I live. That's how fucking rural it is.
I got a rewind button right here. Don't worry, I'll find you.
My favorite satirical horror film is The Exorcist.
What about Shaun of the Dead?
I've seen The Exorcist about 157 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see
it. Maybe The Exorcist 2 we could call a parody.
I wouldn't even call it. That movie was
satirical.
Shit.
God, it was bad.
God, it was bad. Thank anything that everything that we got an Exorcist 3 that we could just skip to. Just go 1, 3 and you're good to go. Don't even need to.
Yeah, it was so weird seeing Linda Blair kind of naked. Like, why is this thing? Why is this happening?
It is interesting. Ellen Burstyn's coming back for the sequel.
I thought she died in the third one or the second one.
No,
somebody else. I forget. Yeah.
But for the new trilogy that they're working on, they're putting Universal's putting $400 million into a new trilogy, and Ellen Burstyn's coming back to reprise her character.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
How's that going to go?
Interesting stuff on the horizon as Johnny beats his microphone into his brain. I can hear your thoughts.
Stop it, people.
I can see your thoughts.
I can see it. Let's see. Sarcasm says shrooms. Nerd Journal says Groundhog Day. I don't care what anyone says. That's a horror movie. And NA says Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I agree.
That was a horror film. Tony Regime says Shaun of the Dead is great. Grabbers was good as well. Grabbers was amazing. Aliens attacking the town, and the only way to fend them off because they drink, they're attracted to the water in your body. So the only way to keep them away from you is to get drunk. Because if you're drunk, if your blood alcohol levels above a certain point, you're toxic to them. So they're like, we don't want you. So you have to fight the aliens when you're 3 sheets to the wind.
Let's go.
It's amazing. Well, there's like these monsters, like they're eating people, and they're just dealing with it like super drunk people. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck?
I got my 6-shooter. You got your boomstick.
Sarcasm says either Shrooms or Tremors. Now I'm split. Tina Jones says Hellraiser 3.
Nice.
Flashback humor. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nerd Jones says, I can't believe how much I've enjoyed falling down the Slenderverse rabbit hole.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh man. Well, it is about that time, isn't it?
I think
about that time. I think it's about that time.
It is time.
All right. It's trivia time. I wish I had a little animatic that I could drop like trivia time.
You got to make it all goofy. You gotta have like fucking. What you should do. You should get somebody to animate like Jason Voorhees sleeping, right? And then you have, I don't know, Michael Myers looking at him through the closet, and then Freddy Krueger wakes him up, and trivia time. I don't know, something silly.
Yes, trivia
Johnny
time.
Rose' creative mind is kicking in.
Trivia time. So get those Google foo fingers ready. Stretch them out, get limber, because here we go. Let's see if the other guys who tried to predict the trivia question got it right. And the prize today is a limited edition number 3 shirt of the Kink Shaming Cannibals. Our 3rd limited edition shirt, because it is coming off the store here pretty soon. It will no longer be available. So this is the 3rd limited edition shirt that Week in Horror has offered. And this will be coming off as soon as we find this will be coming off. And then we're going to finalize what our 4th one will be. So looking forward to this. For a limited edition number 3 shirt, here is your trivia question. Legendary actor Mickey Rooney also starred as the toy maker in the 5th installment in what horror franchise? I'll ask it again. Legendary actor Mickey Rooney also starred as the toy maker in the 5th installment of what horror franchise? First one with their answer in the live chat wins a Week in Horror limited edition shirt number 3 of the Kink Shaming Cannibals, the band that we created on this show.
We still got to get together and play some instruments. Terribly recorded for extra content.
And I guarantee it's going to be
Tina Jones and the Jord. One of those two. You have to double check. But it was either Tina Jones and the Jord.
I haven't seen either one.
Oh.
Let me refresh.
I saw Tina Jones come in first.
So did I. Oh, and
Sorry,
we lost Bale.
No, I was refreshing. I just want to see who is. I have Tina Jones first.
Yep, so do I.
Tina Jones and Sarcasm second, and a bunch of other ones that are way.
And the Jord was right after Tina Jones. It was Tina Jones and the Jord, then Sarcasm. It didn't matter. Tina Jones, you win. Yay!
Well, we ran into this thing before, and then all of a sudden we announced a winner, and everybody was like, wait a minute. So, hey, just give me 2 fucking seconds.
And the George says, I got the shirt already. I can see you.
Sorry, that was mine. We'll have to cut that out. I was going to the YouTube channel. Let me double check. Live chat, not top
Even
chat.
Sarcasm says I'm showing Tina first. So it's Tina. It's Tina. It's Tina.
Yes, it is Tina. Confirmed. I don't forgive me if I want to make sure that the last time we did that, we said it was a winner and it was like a fucking Moonlight situation. Fucking Eugene coming out with the damn card. No, you read the wrong fucking movie. You're just like, oh, son of a bitch.
Hey, shit. Hey, read the card again.
nothing on my cardigan. All right. Well, congratulations to Tina Jones.
Yes.
Let us know. We've got your shipping information because you won before. Let me know your size. Shoot me what your size is, so we make sure we get you the right size T-shirt. And then congratulations. You got a Week in Horror limited edition shirt number 3 of the Kink Shaming Cannibals.
Yep.
Awesome. Fan-fucking-tastic.
There might come a time. Look, listen, people. There might come a time when you're going to need to put your Kink Shaming Cannibals shirt on and show up at a certain place. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I probably said too much already, but make sure you all go get your Kink Shaming Cannibal shirts.
Yes,
you might need them in the near future.
Johnny is actually correct, though. Johnny, if you have them, we'll just say, especially for those who are big supporters of the channel, it would behoove you to have one.
Yes,
we'll simply say that.
It would be awesome.
We had some other guesses in here as well, which some of them are absolutely hilarious. Chris Durham's music channel says it better be Lauren Green. My Magic 8 Ball said my sources point to yes. Unfortunately, it was not Lauren Green. I'm sorry about that.
Well, it was originally the original question was who is Chris Durham going to say? Lauren Green, obviously. But then you jumped the gun, so we had to last minute change it because you're always right.
Tina Jones got right, and the George was right behind her. Let's see. Chris Durham music channel says Chucky. No. Chris Sarcasm also got Silent Night, Deadly Night. NA said Fast and Furious. I'm not like that. Tony Regime said Pete's Dragon.
Yeah, Mickey Rooney was in that.
Mickey Rooney was in that.
He was in that, yeah.
Fuck. Okay, now, okay, yeah. Let's see that.
It was a solid guess.
The password is Fidelio.
Can I have the password, please? That's the password for the outside. What's the password for the inside? Oh, fuck me.
New England.
Yes, actually.
New England clam chowder.
Would that be the red or the white?
Damn it! I can never remember that. White? Yes. Thank you, Tina Jones. And just give us those deets, and we will get this shipped out to you ASAP. All right, amazing. Well, congratulations to our trivia winners. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it has. Are we done already?
That brings it in. That brings us. I'll bring it in for a hug.
We're done.
For a hug.
No.
Well, I guess. And that brings another episode of Week in Horror to a close. Thank you all so much for listening. We truly hope you enjoyed the show. Join us next week when we discuss Komodo, Skinwalkers, Pulse, and the Banana Splits movie. That's the one I needed to be on, not this one. Just gonna put that out there. We'd like to send a special shout out to our amazing patrons who have helped us make the show a success it has become. Thank you all so much. Visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those socials. Follow us. Followers get daily splatter, a bit of horror info every day right into your feed. You never know what new horrors you may discover. Subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a zombie head for all the latest updates from the show. We really hope you enjoy the new live format, and we'd love to get your feedback. Be sure to leave us a comment below, as the interactions really help us with the dreaded algorithm. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and you would like to and are able to support our production, you can through our Patreon. We have subscriber tiers as low as $1 a month. Honestly, guys, it's less than a cup of coffee. Bonus and exclusive content and horror films every month for our highest tiers. However, if you prefer, you can support the show through our PayPal as well. Links to everything, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, horror watch parties, and even interact directly with us, are in the description. And while the country is finally beginning to recover from recent events, we know that things are still pretty tight for many people. As always, simply commenting, liking, and sharing the show with the friends in your local horror community is the absolute best way to help us continue to grow. We appreciate each and every one of you for being the greatest podcast audience ever. I'm Johnny O.
I'm Alex.
And I'm JL.
We'll see you next week. And as always, stay scared.